above all heavens. He's gone to where man has never been nor can come to. He's in where God the Father, He went out of the universe. You understand me? God just went out of it all. And He said, have at it. And He gave you Romans 13, and He said, be subject to the powers that be. There is no power that be except that which is ordained of God. You know what He said to you? He said, if the highway patrolman stops you, pull over. If the highway patrolman says, get out of the car, get out. If the highway patrolman said, put your hands on the roof, put your hands on the roof. If the highway patrolman said, give me your wallet, give him, do what he says or he'll hit you with that stick. Go raising some kind of ruckus about how that highway patrol beat you over the head. He won't beat you over the head. You do what God. The Bible said He beareth not the sword in vain. He'll hurt you. But then people don't know anything about this book, do they? You see, folks, I am a firm believer that we have an infirmity in the flesh and we know not what to pray for as we ought. But the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings that cannot be uttered. Not spoken so delicately, but cannot be uttered. And He that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit. He maketh intercession with the saints according to the will of God. And there's something we do know then. What? That all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to His purpose. I believe that with all my heart. Amen. You say, well, don't you believe in answered prayer? Oh, yeah, I believe in answered prayer. But I do not believe in taking some child, some person that's died, embalmed into the house, and trying to con God into raising him from the dead. Think about it, folks. As I was telling over there the other night in our Bible, you know, I was reading back at the turn of the century a little before, there was a man in Turkey that was a Bible-believing saint of God, had two little boys. And the Muslims took that man and arrested him, and they finally brought him into the courtyard and had everybody to watch them. They finally knocked him down on the ground while they were watching. I'm talking about a saint of God now. And his little boys are standing there watching, and they took a knife, are you listening to me, and they cut a hunk out of his hip. He ain't even dead yet. They cut a hunk out of him and kicked it over there, and his little boy is standing over there crying. The other one, the baby's too little. And then finally they made the little boy watch while they took the bigger one over there and killed him. And they made that fellow lay there on the ground and watch while they took his baby and beat him against the wall and killed him. Where's God? He didn't answer. How about all those people about back in the 50s there, in the Korean War, a good old Christian family over there in the middle of Korea, some saint of God had gone in there and preached the gospel unto them. There they are in their house, and along comes the communists down through there, and they take everything out of the house they want, shove them around in there, and whatever. Where's God? Don't He want to do nothing? No. And they go on, and then later on the UN troops come back, and they go through there and do the same thing all over again. And those Bible-believing saints watch as their children go out and dig into the garbage cans where the soldiers threw banana peelings and eat the peeling off of bananas and whatever. Does God answer? No. You say, I've been suffering. You wouldn't know suffering if you met it in the hallway. People go around all the time, I don't know whether I can take it anymore or not. Well, you can't. Why don't you just quit now? The sorry, low-down Christian people, always bellyaching, always griping. How come you're not going to church anymore? Well, you don't know the things that they say over there at that church. Oh, I do too. They just Now, that ain't your trouble. That's not your trouble. There's some of you have to go to the doctor if you got a hangnail. Say, why weren't you at church last Sunday morning? Well, I had a hangnail there. I had to stay home and file my nails. Suffering persecution. Baloney. Say, you telling me that God doesn't care? No, I'm not telling you that God doesn't care. I'm telling you that if you are going to be in a dispensation of the grace of God, and you are, and you're going to experience the long-suffering of God, and you do, then the bad guy is going to have the same opportunity you have. So, ladies, you hear somebody trying to get into your house and break the door down, don't you call on some angel, you call on a cop. Just as quick as you can get to that telephone, dial and holler, help! Say, well, God will send his angels and they'll encompass me about. Any angel that'll come to your house now is a bad dude. You don't want nothing to do with it. You know, this world is gone, isn't it berserk? I mean, I'm hearing more about these things. They're popping up everywhere, you know. Some silly woman on one of those sleazy talk shows telling about having a flat tire and God sent his angel to change the tire. Baloney. Angels are not changing flat tires, folks. Anybody will do anything to sell a book, won't they? I got to get busy and get mine. Sorry about that, folks. The long-suffering of God, folks. God is long-suffering. Now, very quickly, I want you to notice something. Turn in your Bible, please, I want you to go to 1 Peter. And notice in 1 Peter chapter 3. 1 Peter chapter 3. There's a cause in all this. In 1 Peter chapter 3, and notice in verse 18, 1 Peter 3, verse 18, for Christ also hath once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened with the Spirit, by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometime were disobedient. Now watch closely. When once the long-suffering of God waited the days of Noah, while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water. Now don't worry about the salvation of the souls by water. Don't let your mind get all tangled up here on something like that. I want you to notice that there's something very important in that passage. The long-suffering of God waited while, what was it that was happening? The ark was being made. The ark was preparing. Turn back in Genesis, please, and look in Genesis chapter 7. In Genesis chapter 7, notice something about this man Noah. We'll start in Genesis 6. Sorry about that. In Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I made them. And Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Well, why did he find grace in the eyes of the Lord? Look in chapter 7, verse 1. The Lord said unto Noah, come thou hold thy house under the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Why did God save Noah and his house? Because Noah was a righteous man among all the rest. And so God was long-suffering while the ark was being built. Why? Because there's a righteous man here. And I will not destroy this righteous man. Turn to Genesis chapter 18 and notice the example. In Genesis chapter 18. In Genesis chapter 18, the context has to do with Sodom and Gomorrah, and God's about to